think Michael, when he said he was going to make wreaths and not go back to work.
Well, hang on.
Just gave out the blueprint. That is really a good blueprint.
Y'all can take on me later.
The garage to right at 8,000 square feet.
Oh, 10 times. The Lord will do it. The Lord. What you doing over here?
And get all up in your wrist business.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Isn't that hilarious? All up in your Wreath business.
I love it.
Welcome back to the Wreath Business Podcast, you guys. I am Palan Lewis, your host, and I have Miss and wonderful Miss Cathy Schwartz on. She's the owner of Decorator Crafts, and I want you guys to get to know her better and check her out. So I'm super excited to have her today. Welcome.
My husband, I have to tell you this. I think my husband's going to ask you to do this with me every week because it forced me to clean my office. Like the front side of the house is not this tidy.
Yeah. I need to do my craft room, Lord.
Exactly.
It is a mess. So, you guys, this is a podcast that is geared to show and get to know people a little bit better in our Wreath community and all about how they started their business, their what's and their whys, and all of those things in between. So I'm super excited to have her today. If you have any questions at the end of the broadcast, please feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to ask Cathy some of those. So we're going to get started today. Make sure you guys sprinkle this out and tell your friends all about it, and make sure you check us out on Spotify. So I'm about to get all up in your Wreath business, girl. Ask you a couple of questions.
In my biz. Everybody else wants to be in it. Why not you? Right?
Give them something to work with.
Right.
So I want to start out by really just seeing who you were, as far as professional-wise before you got started in the craft industry. So how did you get started? What was your day-to-day job?
Yeah, so I've always been on the artsy side. I grew up as a kid taking ballet lessons and doing oil painting lessons.
Oh.
I wasn't shoved in lockers, I promise. I was also kind of a cool kid too, but I got that artsy gene from my grandmother and loved to paint. So I started off as an art major in college, and the university I went to tended to be more abstract, and I was more impressionistic. And then as I'm carrying canvases across campus this big and all, I'm thinking, am I really going to make a living doing this? So I ended up switching my degree a couple of times and ended up with a degree in psychology and a minor in communications. But I kept trying to kind of keep some of that fun hobbyist in myself, at least. So before I started Decorator Crafts, I worked for a really large mortgage company as a project manager and a product owner. And so I was used to keeping everybody on track, accountable, and then implementing projects between IT and the business. So that's what I was doing. It was a lot of, hours, stress, and things like that, just like everybody right now, right? Everybody's overworked and so forth. So I started making wreaths on the side as a stress reliever, just something that I enjoyed. I could do in the evenings. I could sit in front of the television with my husband, spend time, and start making pretties. And then next thing you know, I have, friends are seeing them and asking if they can get one. And I'm like, sure. But I never had it in my mind that I would sell the wreaths full time. But I immediately, as soon as I started getting a little bit better at the craft, I immediately was drawn to designer ribbons, right? All the pretties. And so I kept saying to my husband, he heard me. I started in 2020, my business. We actually launched the website in May. However, I'd been talking all 2019 about this, and he finally said, when are you going to stop talking about it and just do it? And I looked at him and I said, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, first of all, how can you not love that from your partner to 100% support you like that? I don't think he had a clue what he was getting himself into. I think I thought I did, but it ended up being a lot more than what, I even thought. So I built the website on Shopify while I worked my full-time job. I kept my full-time job all through 2020. And I think I officially quit the full-time job he's probably next door and can hear me. He's so good with dates. Like February of 2021, I think, something like that. So for like the first year and a half or so, I mean, I would pack orders on my lunch break. I would get up, and before I logged on for work, I would pack orders, and then I would do it late at night. And when something would go crazy and we'd have a huge sale, I'd an all-nighter if needed, but it's just like anything that if it's in you and it's your passion, it's not, I was tired, but I did it. I just loved it. And I kept trying to think, how am I going to get there to make this my full-time gig?
Right.
So, I was just kind of laying out a plan and just kind of checking things off. And, that list never goes away. I mean, the list continues to grow. There's still, things to always be done, right? You can't, I said this to you before we started, can't take your foot off the gas pedal. There is no magical pill. It can be defeating at times, and I'm sure you know this, because it's not instant gratification.
Right.
It's not, it's work and building, but meeting people in this and the people who are your cheerleaders and support you. And I find that I'm trying to do more of that for people that I know are working really hard, because you're on an island a lot, right? I'm here in my own world doing my own thing. Even when I have maybe a crummy day, I don't always, burden my husband with it. I just move on and just, you just chalk it up. It is what it is, and you move on. But we try not to, I have certain people in this industry, in this community, who I've befriended and feel really comfortable with now. And I'll just call them vent sometimes, and they do it with me. And it's just so cathartic.
Right. Yeah.
It's not often, because quite frankly, we're all just so busy.
Right.
But, so that's how I got into it. And I still love to design. I have 2 women contract workers who pack for me, and that's all they do full time. So to let me do and create pretties and educate and all, I'm at a point where I'm still not doing that as much as I wanted to. There's still so much day to day, and I probably need to hire some more people after we get through the Christmas season. But that's really what I want to do. I want to be in the camera more. I want to be educating. I want to be connecting with customers and doing the stuff that got me into it in the first place, right? The fun part of it that we all enjoy.
Yeah. I don't think I got started truly till 21, I believe. Well, 2020 going on 21. And when I started on YouTube first before I even got into Facebook, right? And then I came into Facebook, which I already had a Facebook, but never sought after crafting or wreath making on Facebook. And when I found it, I was like, wow. And so, the algorithm starts picking up stuff. And I was still in my beginner phase. I had my son in 2019, then COVID. And I kind of picked it up and said, I could try wreath or whatever. And you go in your first beginning phase, you start out with small projects. So I was just Dollar Treeing it up, right? And thought I was doing my thing, honey. You know what I mean? And I came across your live, and you were in your gorgeous living room, and I was like, just enamored. It had to be Easter, maybe 21. And you had you had these Easter yoga bunnies. You were the first person that I ever came across on Facebook that were selling supplies.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel
And
honored.
you had
There's a lot of us
money,
now.
and I was like, oh my gosh. So here I go. I go on your website and I saw the prices and I was like, I can't do this. I'm Lord, oh no. But
Right.
that was my first kind of, maybe I can't. And then gradually, I got into the designer ribbons, the more higher end project. I found out who Regents
Right.
was, and all these
It's a
people.
stepping thing, right?
Yes,
We all,
yes.
you start off at one budget, and then as you grow, then you can increase if you want to. There's plenty of people that stay more in the more affordable because that's their niche. And
Right,
there's
right.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, I still, I shop at Walmart. I had a retreat this weekend, and on my way home, I was like, I'm stopping by Home Goods. So, I mean, we all do it.
Yes. But I was like, I love now to mix and match. And I really do believe that some of these higher end items and designer ribbons, of course, make your designs really stand out. They really do. And people know that it's good quality stuff where they want to buy and they say, I can just fluff it out and it's good to go year after year. Something, it's to me, it's very worth it. It's worth it. So I encourage people to mix and match or just buy yourself one roll of ribbon. Give it a try.
Well, and yesterday this question came up. I did it was called Merrymaker's Christmas event, and it was with 3 other designers. And it came up. Someone asked me, how do you, talking about designer ribbon, and I said, I fully recommend that you get yourself a more affordable roll. And just practice. And then when you get comfortable with that, then add in a designer ribbon. And maybe it's just maybe it's a 4-inch, maybe it's a 2.5-inch or a 1-inch, whatever you're most comfortable with. And maybe that's all you do, because I incorporate everyday ribbons in with my higher end ribbons as well. I just felt like as I was getting better and better, that it was easier with the luxury ribbons because I didn't have to fight to fluff as much and get them to hold the shape and everything. And then I also noticed that those tended to sell on Etsy better for me. So even though the cost, and mind you, I could price them high. I had to price them higher.
Right,
I mean, that's, because of the expensive ribbon. But I felt like, to your point, they stood out more. And so but I never want anybody just buying a bunch of this and you're not comfortable with it. You don't. And that's why I realized yesterday I had so many questions about it that I've got to find the time and be consistent with it and get back to that, to just doing what I set out to start doing, which was showing people how to use it and so forth. And I get so bogged down in deliveries and paperwork and customer service and, this and that sometimes I stray off a bit. And so goal for 2024, after I get through the holiday season, is to start doing more content and connecting with customers more and educating and all, because that's the fun part of it.
Absolutely. Yes, that's totally true. So can you tell me what kind of motivates you to keep going, like to keep striving for better, in your business?
Well, it's we're all born with our personalities, right? And we all but nobody ever has a perfect day and never has doubt or wonders or, why am I doing this and all of that. But I've always been someone that you put a challenge in front of me and I'm going to find a way to make it.
Yeah.
I don't want to fail. I want to, now fail to me is a very subjective word. I have failures every single day.
Yeah.
But I learn from those little failures that prevent me from making a catastrophic failure, right? I try not to look back on those and dwell on them, because then you get into that analysis paralysis. And if you don't get out of your comfort zone and do something different, you're not gonna get to that peak where you want to go. And that's the hardest part of it, right? Is because you have to challenge yourself constantly to learn something that maybe isn't in your realm. One of the things for me is, I used to work with IT, so I'm not afraid of the techie stuff of it, but videos, cutting, slicing and dicing and doing all that. It's not a huge interest thing. I know I need to do it, but I just need to educate myself. I know it's a time sucker. And then also you reach a point where, where is my time more valuable? Should I be paying someone to help with this? Or is it more economical for me to be doing it myself? So I have to have those conversations with myself too, and kind of figure all of that out. I know if I want to achieve the things that I just discussed about educating more and all that, I've got to have someone help me free up some time. Now, if that's videos or whatever it may be, that's part of my to-do list, is to really, what are the daily tasks that I'm doing that are sucking up my time, right? And keeping me from doing what I really want to do. And then I'll just evaluate it. What is it going to cost for this? Okay, that's not feasible right now. So suck it up, Buttercup. You're going to have to do it, But I just think the hardest part of it is nothing is immediate success. Nothing is, including this industry, no matter what you're doing. Everybody who is successful has worked really, 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 really hard for it and been consistent. And I think all of the coaches always, preach consistency. And I do believe that. I do believe you need to be consistent. And as I was telling you before we started, that's another goal of mine in 2024, is to be consistent with when I'm going live, so that I can tell people, hey, this is when I'm going to be on. I hope to see you there. And this is what we're going to do. Yeah. So all of those things. But for anybody that's new out there and you're feeling like all those feelings, right? The self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, all of that negative Nelly stuff, just know it's not immediate. Keep going. And if you keep doing it and you just think positively and you put in the work, it will happen. If you don't like your designs, oh my gosh, I found a picture the other day on my very first wreath. It was a witch one. I was so proud of that. So proud of that. And I look at it now and I'm like, oh, wow, did I make that with my feet? And then I'm looking at it. Well, wait a minute. I should be proud of that. That's what got me started. Right. Yeah. That is the beginning point. And everybody has a beginning point. But nobody comes right out of the gate being able to manhandle and make a beautiful bow. I mean, we've all been there, Get yourself a huge roll of Sam's or Costco and go to town. Just watch some videos, watch us, watch Palan, watch the experts,
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
that's what I hope someone takes away from watching me, is you showed me a shortcut, or you showed me this, or, over the weekend, well, I have something sitting here on my desk, but we have this gingerbread ribbon and it's one directional. So I taught people how, to make the gingerbread go the proper way in both the loops, right? Because that's a challenge when you're new, especially with a designer ribbon, because it's so thick. So those kind of things, and just give yourself grace to learn it. So.
Absolutely. And them tips and tricks come in handy, you guys. But that's what I did, though. I slowed down the video. I looked at the pause. I paused.
Yeah. Rewind, pause.
Yes. And it really takes that for the aha for me.
Yes.
To click. And then I was like, oh, well done, girl.
Right. As you're holding it, rewind. Yeah. And also too, find a group, maybe a paid group. If it's in your budget, find the right person for you. Yes. If not, I don't do a paid group, but there's lots of free content too right out there. So I when I say I don't do a paid group, I don't have one myself. I'm in a paid group. I'm in Candy's paid group, but
yeah. Me too. I love me some Candy.
me as well.
Yes. So just absolutely great advice, especially for somebody newly beginning. Just to have someone, a coach who has already done all of these things and kind of give you a pathway and a to-do list and break it down so you don't consume.
Yeah.
Because even when you find some content and they're like, you need this, and one verbal conversation, you get overwhelmed, and it's like,
you do. That was a real struggle for me is, you get online and then you see new things being done and all, and next thing you know, you've lost focus and you're not on that road. And so you've got to pick certain things that you want to get accomplished and stay on that and then move on to the next task. Doing things halfway gets you halfway results, if that.
yes.
And that's hard for me too, because I can have a lot of squirrel moments.
Yeah.
A lot of squirrel moments. And so I am in a business group where there's a library and I can just go help myself. And so I try to schedule chunks of time off and get things done. For instance, I set up my email with automated flows and campaigns and, all kinds of stuff. That was something that I've been wanting to do forever. And, when you take the time to do it, you see the results. I mean, not everybody watches lives.
Right.
Not everybody goes to TikTok. There are people who will never be on YouTube. There are people who only read emails. There are people who don't read emails.
Yeah.
So you have to put your focus into every bit of it, which I know is overwhelming.
Yes.
I know it is overwhelming. So do one and be really good at it and then move on to the next one. Master it. That's my advice, at least. For me, it was more just being a little more consistent on Facebook. To start.
And I suggest people to pick the one that you, as far as social media, pick the one you like.
Yeah,
because
right.
The one you like is the one you're familiar with, working it,
feel most comfortable with, right?
Easiest for you to be consistent in is pick the one you like.
Well, and you have to, right? We were talking about this earlier. Has to be the right audience too.
Right.
If you never have the intention to instruct or, have a group or anything like that, or or you're not selling supplies. If you're just selling wreaths, then your customer base is a wreath buyer, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to attract that right type of audience. And so your content may be different from my content.
Right. Yeah. You have to find your niche.
You do.
Yeah. Because getting the wrong audience, you guys, you don't want to do that. Take my advice, okay? You don't want to do it.
Too much work to pull in the wrong people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I am telling you. So what was your first experience kind of going to market and getting the ribbons and everything? Were you just overwhelmed with all the choices? And
so I grew up moving a lot, but I finished out high school in Dallas. So I've driven by Dallas market forever.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a dream, I wonder if one day I'll ever get to go in there. So when I did, I think I somewhat knew what to expect, but I did not realize just how dang big it was. I mean, it is big, huge. And the options and just, too, is setting a budget and then knowing where you're going to spend the money. So for me, it was, I quickly learned, you make mistakes. But I quickly learned after my first or second time, because, you go twice a year, right? So I would come home and, and I lay out, people have no idea how much work goes into it, but you lay out all the orders and you see, okay, because I'll be in one showroom and I'll be like, did I order bat picks at the other place? I remember seeing them. Did I order
Yeah.
them? And then if you don't like really look your orders over, next thing you know, you order bat picks from every supplier
everywhere you
known to
went.
man. And then you're stuck with all this, So it's just, it's a lot. And then you learn, like, my customer base has changed from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
So I carried a lot of the everyday ribbon. Organically, I think as my interest turned more into the designer ribbon and I was showing more of it, more of my customer base is more of the designer ribbon. So I'm phasing out the everyday ribbon now. It's not that I don't love that ribbon.
Yeah.
It's just if I need to offer my customers what they want. So it's ever changing, just like any other business, but it's no different than the corporate world. You just have to, I think the hardest part that was on your own business is you're not clocking in and out. You don't have someone looking over you, right? You have to be self-motivated. And on those days where I'm just like, oh, I know what I need to get done, and it's going to be an icky kind of task day, what I tell myself is, do I want to look at, so every year I want to see that I've done X amount, right? I've sold X amount. I want to see this. So I tell myself on those days that I'm not into it, all right, do I want to look back on December 31st and I didn't hit my goal, and I'm going to go back to August 21st when I was laying in bed with my coffee cup and going, I'm not doing today,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was that I was like, a couple grand away from hitting that goal,
Yeah.
In sales. So that, not to say that I don't take time off and, have occasional days, but on those days that maybe I don't feel like doing as much, I do an email campaign. It takes me 30 minutes, pop the email out, and I can generate some sales on those days. So on those days, just go live once, just post, do the content. You don't have to be in your best clothes and your makeup and all that. And, just put in the best you can do for that day. But then tomorrow is a new day and you got to put your foot back on the pedal, so to speak. So.
Yeah, definitely. I do that a lot of times, like repurpose that content, y'all.
And you have a lot of content. You are such a hustler and so good at it all. Well, why not, right? On all the different platforms and stuff. Why not?
Yeah. Yes.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, it's perfect for that, especially for those type of days, because I'm a mom, I work a full-time job, I'm a florist now. Some days are like, cannot design one more thing today.
and you're entitled to that for sure.
So roll out the old things. Yes, that's super smart. Yeah. So tell me how you did Luxury Loops, or tell us a little bit more about Luxury Loops, because look, we know you got a wait list for that.
Well, and that was not the case for quite a while. That was not the case. I mean, that has taken a lot of hard work, y'all.
Yeah.
I just, it came for just salivating over all that ribbon, right? And just like, oh my gosh, I just, and so I actually, I can't even tell you when I officially started it, which is probably very bad. I should know that. But I remember I did it before the end of 2020. And, the thing with it is, you go to market twice a year, right? So I have to determine how many boxes am I going to sell? How many subscriptions am I going to allow? And then open it up for new subscribers. I can only do it twice a year, right? Because like when I go to market in January, I have to say, okay, I'm going to do, 48 more, which is what I'm doing in December. I'm going to open it up for 48 more for the January box.
Yay.
And yeah, I am. So you have to prepare for that and all. Well, that was a challenge because of the supply chain issues that we were coming through. not the best time for Blondie to have started that, right?
Yeah.
But I had all the passions and all the feelings. I didn't necessarily think it through real well. And so fortunately, it was a really small, I don't remember how many subscribers I had, but much smaller than what I have now. But I had ordered ribbons and they didn't come in. And so I would be scrambling. I'd be on, D. Stevens and looking, what do they have in stock? What matches? What am I? No, that I'm not, I don't like that. I'm not proud of that ribbon. I'm not going to put that in the box. That's not going to do it for me,
Yeah.
And it was just really, really hard. But then that kind of level set itself out. And then I was afforded an amazing opportunity, so blessed, after building a relationship with the Ferris family of Ferris Silk. They offered me exclusives, and I just thought, okay, we're gonna knock this out of the park now.
Yeah.
So it's so much fun doing the exclusives. It's a lot of work. I literally go to market, take my laptop, and I'll spend 5 to 6 hours with the daughter, and we just all year round, if I see something, whether it's a ribbon somewhere else, or maybe it's a pattern on some material, or it's a picture that I've seen of like a photograph or anything, I take a picture of it and I put it in a folder in my phone, and then I go to her with like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And we talk through it. And then I'll see new patterns that they came out with, because I can take those and do them in a different color scheme. But it's so much fun. I mean, I've learned so much about ribbon making that I didn't know, and what goes into it, and, choosing the backing, the edging, the, matte, metallic, just everything. So, and then also too, trying to bring the best of the best, but at the right price point.
Yeah.
I recently surveyed my subscribers, because I thought, maybe they'd like this versus this, but I'm not going to do it without asking. And it was so informational to me. And I was so surprised by a lot of the answers I got back. And what really surprised me was most of them said, essentially, they didn't care. They trusted me. Like, they trust me. And they trust they like,
your
they
taste.
like and everything. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that is so nice. That is really nice. That affirms I'm doing something right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I get it, these people, these men and women, they get their boxes and they're like, oh, these are great. But, life goes on. They don't take the time and go, hey, Cathy, you did great.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they don't unsubscribe, so they must be okay with it. But it was really eye-opening, and I really didn't do it for the kudos. I wanted to see what they thought. Like, for instance, I said, would you 1-inch ribbons are super popular now. Would you like a box just full of 1-inch ribbons? And I thought they would say yes. And they were like, no, we really like having a 4, a 2.5, and a 1. We like you picking out coordinating things. And I'm like, all right, you got it. You got it. And not a problem.
I think that's a great combination. I have to agree, you guys. The 4, 2.5, and a 1.
Right. Although I'm loving the new 3/4 inch, the 0.75, the little narrow ones. Yeah. That's Ferris Silk's come out with an even skinnier one.
Wow.
Here, I'll show you. It's like this was in this month's box. You can, I don't know if it translates.
Oh, the real little bitty skinny.
Yeah, it's here.
It's smaller than a 7/8?
It is. Well, what is that? It's 3/4 small. It's 0.75, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're asking me to do math, Palan? That was not on your approved list of questions.
No.
It's a Sunday.
I'm seeing how they have their trees with the little small ribbons in them. It's really, really pretty.
Yeah, it's just fun to, like, you get just a little bit in there and they curl. You know?
Yeah.
And even with the 1-inch, they look cool. But
yeah. Absolutely.
But I do feel like it's my responsibility to also, and I've communicated this to them, is everybody in here has different tastes. And so you may not love every box, but I want you to get out of your comfort zone and try it. And I will get messages on that. Like, I never have liked the color such and such. And you know what? Those ribbons were sitting there and you pushed me to do something. And they'll send me a picture and they'll go, I love it. You know? And I was like, that's so awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you did that, because I can't buy everything that I just love, right? I have to look at the spectrum. So like for the Christmas boxes, I did traditional, trendy, and sweets. And that was the traditional. The trendy is going out this month, and then we'll end it with the sweets. So.
Awesome. So how can they get on your list from when you open back up?
Well, we can post a link in here after I can post the link. But if you go to my my website, you'll see on Luxury Loops, if you click on the subscription, it's going to take you to a landing page that tells you anything and everything you'd want to know about the subscription box. And you can join the wait list there. It won't let you purchase it because there aren't any available right now. But it describes how it works, when you get charged, when they're shipped out. It's $75 and free shipping. So, and taxes really depending on where you live, right? But typically the boxes are anywhere. I mean, you're saving a good 20 to 30% easily on them. Yeah. Doing the math here right now in my head.
Really, really good. You guys check out her website too. Like, I have the app, so I kind of.
Do you like the app? Everybody seems to love the app.
I love the app. I must say, I love the app, and I feel like if you the app always pops up and tells me, when you do go live.
Yeah.
Quicker than, it does on Facebook. Yeah. So I like that. And then I like when you add a new product, it notifies me.
Yes.
So I can stalk real easy on the app. Okay.
Well, one thing I do like about the app is when I show the products on live sales, because the app is actually developed through Comment Sold. They partner with Apple on it to get you that app. So, it takes at the end of a live sale, so for instance, if I'm showing this ribbon and I'm like, look at y'all, look how it curls. And, this is great with, you can use this with gems or, whatever. I'm just talking right now, but, it takes the snippet of me showing this ribbon and then attaches it to the product in the app. So let's say I showed something really big and you're like, dang it, I can't remember how big she said that was. You can go to the app and there's a little, like play button, like the arrow, play it, and it's going to showing that again. To me, that's the coolest thing about the app.
Yeah, I love
it's not as fancy as the website, right? You can't, have as many collections and all of that. Yeah. But I like it that you can see the true color, not just a photograph. You can see how big it is and, and all of that. And it's free for the customer. I mean, they just go to the Apple or Google Play and search Decorator Crafts and download it, and you're good.
Good to go. So, yeah. I love that part. And because a lot of things don't read, especially size wise. It could be an ornament. I'm like, oh, that's huge when you show it.
Oh, yeah. I know you get it in and it's like this big and you're thinking especially when it's the centimeters. I'm like, okay. So when I list an ornament that's in centimeters, I do go to converter and I convert it to inches because I bought ornaments that I thought were normal size and they're this big or they're ginormous. And I'm like, okay, that'll go in a tree, but not in my wreath.
Yeah, so I really love that part. I really love that part about the app. So super cool. Y'all, you just search Decorator Crafts and go and download the app now. I'm not playing.
And Decorator Crafts is one word. I did it for simplicity. That's everybody says, shouldn't it be 2 words? And I go, well, I did it to be simple. Again, we make mistakes. Maybe it should have been 2 words.
Yeah.
But I will say this, it's consistent across everything, social media. It is Decorator Crafts. Just everywhere. So I did luck out with that.
Yeah, that's really good, really good. That's why I say, even if you're gonna pick the social media you like, y'all, that does not mean don't go and secure your name. Secure your name everywhere, okay?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep, buy it up. It
Yes.
costs you nothing. What is it, $20 or something to get a domain, and then just buy whatever you think you're going to need and keep it.
Yeah, definitely. So what is something that you would tell someone just starting out? Any last final piece of advice to someone that just want to make wreaths or wants to start a business? What's something that you would tell them?
What I would tell younger Cathy.
Yeah.
Because y'all, I started this at 54 years old. So don't say you cannot do it. I'm 57 now. So do not say you can't do it. I can't believe I just said that publicly. Hopefully there's a filter on here, but you know, don't let the noise get in your head. Like, don't do the imposter syndrome. But that being said, also do your homework and find someone that you feel you're comfortable with that is in this industry, this community, and reach out. If somebody reached out to me, I would be more than happy to talk to them. Now, I don't have the time to coach them one-on-one, but I would have a conversation with them, answer any questions they have, and give them, the right direction to go, at least a few steps that I think are key to getting on the right foundation, right? I'm still learning every day. I am in no way, shape, or form an expert at any of this. I still learn. I still make mistakes. I make costly mistakes. I mean, I do dumb things, I'll get interrupted while I'm listing product, and I'll list the product for what I paid for it by accident. And then I catch it on comment sold. I'm like, when the price comes up, I'm like, God, that seems really, really reasonable. Like, more than I'm like, okay, well, you people on this live, you're getting a really great deal. You know?
Yeah.
You just give yourself grace. Just give yourself grace, and just know that it's going to take some time, but just keep a positive mindset. Get the right people around you. It doesn't have to be 500. It can be just a couple that you share the same goals and mindset with, and they're your cheerleader and your fan, and it's genuine and authentic. And that was me. I started it off and really didn't know anybody. And I guess I would go back in time and say, you know what, I should have reached out to somebody. I could have prevented some of the mistakes that I made. Although I learned from them. And another thing too is I insisted upon building my Shopify myself. And and I was working a full-time job, and there were nights I wanted to bang my head up against a wall, because I couldn't figure something out, or it just didn't look the way I wanted it to. But I do know it really well now. And I think, just like any good business owner, you need to know the back end of things. Mm-hmm. And even if you do get to a point where you can hire something out, you still need to know how it works. You need to be the boss.
Absolutely.
Like, you need to know all. You don't need to do it all, but you need to know it all. You need to know how it works. Because if you don't, then miscommunication and just, catastrophic things can happen. And I just think it's good. For me, I want to be able to walk the walk and talk the talk, right? I don't, anything that I'm saying out of my mouth, I want it to be genuine. I want it to be authentic. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to say, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. Here's where you need to go, or let me see if I can find the answer out for you. But yeah. So that's what I would say.
That is great advice. That is great advice, Miss Young Cathy. You guys, I hope y'all soak that in.
Oh, and by the way, world peace.
Well, I'm with you on that one. Let's see. I think we had a couple of comments or questions from the audience. You guys, if you have some, just go ahead and post it. I think we had some in the beginning. Let me go and see. So Miss Maggie says, how did you run into the fabulous ribbons? So what was your first experience with the ribbon? With your first designer ribbon? Do you remember?
Yeah, let me think about it. If I trying to remember trying to think who did I purchase my first designer ribbon from, and I don't know if I can. It may have been. Gosh, I don't want to like. It may have been from Jackie, the Fancy Front Door. No, but I don't think she was selling then. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it didn't take me long. I will tell you, it was like a drug, that first hit, and I was like, okay, this is where Cathy is supposed to be, And then I educated myself on who makes them, right? And then I found through that who my favorite is, and I guess we don't have to question that, right?
Oh yeah,
my box is exclusive Ferris belt.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just the ability to get the product on time, which is so important as a seller, and the consistency with the materials used and the wire and just everything. And I know that I can go onto their website and order blindly a ribbon, and it's going to show up, and it's going to be really good quality. And I never have to worry about that. So that's kind of mine. And also I remember too, that once I do remember this, I don't remember what ribbon it was, but I was like, holy cow, this is so nice to work with. Like, it holds the loop, and so yeah.
Yeah. So she answered that one, you guys. It's fair silk. Kind of mine too. I do, however, favor Regency. For some reason, just the patterns that they choose sometimes.
Regency, yeah, they make some pretty things. Raz makes adorable ribbons too.
Raz, oh yeah, absolutely. And I think I've got my first Raz from you, I would say.
Now, one thing I will say is any ribbon that I have in my store, I've physically touched it at market, and I pull them off the wall and I'd make a loop. And I shake it. I want to see if it's going to hold it, and if the material's too crepey, because you can have a beautiful like a Dupioni silk that is soft and crepey, but people shy away for it, or from a satin. But if it has the right wire, it's gonna knock it out of the park. It's all about that wire.
Yeah. I was using a Dupioni the other night, and I was like, it feels like a Dupioni, but like you said, it was so thick that it just is. It was no unraveling of that Dupioni. I'm telling you now.
Nobody likes a floppy bow, and that's why I'm like, to sit there and pull and fluff and especially if you're going to ship it too. You want it to show up and look nice for your customer. So
yeah. So y'all make sure y'all download her app and check her out. It's Decorator Crafts on all different socials, and make sure you download the app, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, it's a game changer. Also, frequently check the overstock section. Hint, okay? I gave y'all a great hint. That's my favorite spot, okay? And thank you so much for doing that for me.
100%. Actually, there's nothing wrong with those ribbons. How that came to be was during COVID. Remember, I said I was struggling. And so by the time I finally got those ribbons that were supposed to have been there 3 months before, I had grown my box and I didn't have enough.
Oh.
And so I finally sat back and said, I'm sitting on some inventory, and I just need to like share the experience with everyone.
Yeah.
And to your point, that's probably a good place to start, right? Get a good deal on one and start testing it out. Yep.
Absolutely. If your first designer ribbon, you don't want to break the bank, you want to try it out, check it out, download the app, and go on the website too, Decorator Crafts, y'all, and hit that section. That section is wonderful. You'll find wonderful jewels over there. I'll be having me a good time.
You can tell Plana and I both like our designer ribbon.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, you're kidding. Whoop, whoop, whoop. In the car.
Right.
I love it. But just to see your growth and expansion is absolutely wonderful. And I feel like, when I see you, I'm like, okay, well, I made it up to that level, because I'm telling you, in the beginning for me, I was scared. I was like, oh, it's beautiful, but oh Lord, I was scared. And I came along. So it's an evolution, you guys. Grow and get there, and you never know. I still have growing to do. I'm not the person that has purchased $100 ribbon yet. I have not crossed that threshold. But when I do, I'm gonna have a great time.
Well, and when you do, on those, this is what I tell people, in my live sales. I go, okay, we're coming up on a not for everybody ribbon, but this is pretty spectacular.
Spectacular.
I try to tell people, just do 2 big loops and tails and leave it at that. And
That's
then
it.
you can still get probably 4 to 5, just depending on how many yards it is.
Yeah.
Amazing bows in here to make and if you then divide the cost, so let's just say it's $100 roll. I don't have a lot of those, but and you divide that by if you can get 5 bows out of it, it's $20.
Yeah.
That's not so bad. And if you watch your cost on your picks and all in there, it's going to more than likely just really stand out, right? With the jewels or whatever it may have.
Yeah. So it's some spectacular ribbon, y'all. I see it and I drool all the time. So maybe that would be my goal for Christmas time, is to treat myself.
Treat yourself.
Treat myself.
That's what it's funny. So people can review products on the website and all. And I have a lot of reviews on luxury loops. And that's what a lot of them say is, this is my gift to myself. Like, I treat myself with this.
Yeah.
We
work hard. We deserve it.
Yep. Some women do spa days. Other people do fair silk.
Yeah. We deserve.
Right.
We deserve it. So thank you so much for coming on, you guys. This podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So make sure you check it out there, and you can see all of our amazing guests that came on prior to Miss Cathy here. Next week, you guys, we will have Miss Sandra Gregory with General Wholesale. She's going to come on the podcast to kind of tell us about her journey. And I hope you guys got to know Cathy a little bit better today, as well as heard and learned a few things from her and from her journey. So that's what it's all about. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I will see you guys next time.
Thanks for the opportunity, Pawan. It was great.
Thank you. You're welcome. You have an awesome rest of your weekends.
You too. Bye, sweet lady.